Well, good morning. My name is Ray with Team S.t.e.a.m. This morning I'm here at Flash Industrial Painting, but not to paint a truck. Today we're picking up where we left off yesterday. We're going to finish prepping these beds, get them painted. We're going to bring in all those tires because it snowed a little last night. It's a little chilly out this morning. We're going to bring in the little manual tire machine and I don't know, around 10 tires, break all them down, and then we're going to go ahead and continue on the garden beds, continue building them and filling them and moving dirt from here to there, and all the stuff we were doing yesterday we're going to continue today. And then I've got to break away for other stuff. Now we got these moved aside. We've got the tire jig in here. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them broken down, 2 more to go. And now we've got some tires that we can go ahead and add to that tire wall that we started on. And now I'm shoveling some compost out of the back of this truck into this wheelbarrow and hauling it right over here. So as you can see, we've got the first row filled in, and then we put the logs in on both sides of this previous bed, and then we put in a bunch of pine needles, a big pile of pine needles, and it's pine needles and broken down wood chips and tree bark and all sorts of things like that, but predominantly pine needles that we filled both sides with. And then we went over the top of that with about 3 to 5 inches in some spots, maybe a little deeper in a few spots, of clay type soil, heavily mineralized clay soil. It used to be a seabed actually years ago. It was from a nearby town, and I had it hauled here, and it's just our spare kind of filler dirt pile. And the compost that we've got is a little brown, a little loamy, so it could use the extra minerals. So, and also this turns to clay when it gets wet. So the idea is that when the water soaks down through the compost, it won't necessarily quickly go down through all those pine needles and be gone forever. It's going to hit that, and that's going to turn into kind of a muddy area and a bit of a barrier, but not a true barrier, and it'll definitely slow the water. So it's going to serve many purposes. Plus, it was just a good amount of fill dirt. So we're not using compost to fill in some spots 2-foot deep areas. So now, as you can see, we've got all the dirt work done that we need to do before compost on the top layer, and we've got the top layer of tires mostly put in place. I mean, that's about where they're going to be. And now I'm going to start shoveling compost and filling them in. Alright, so now I'm about half done. I worked until it got dark enough last night, and then I got back on it today, and I've done 3-4 tires since I come back out. And I'm going to finish this row out and hopefully get my trailer emptied up enough that I can get the tarp out from underneath the front part of the dirt, and so I can get it folded up for the evening. And here's old Kevin. This is that very long-haired version of him named Priscilla. This is her dad. And he just showed up on a cold winter night on the back deck and started intermittently coming around and living under my house, and then in my house, and then more and more often in my house. And speaking of Pris, there she is right there. Right behind her dad. To start with, we're going to paint these beds that I built. We're not going to paint the wood, we're just painting the fenders. Get them all to match. And then I'm going to go ahead Then I'm going to be spraying all of these tires once we get the dirt all packed down inside of them and cleaned up enough to where they all have, you know, almost no dirt on these sidewalls at all. Then I'll come through with some low pressure and shoot all of them as well to match the beds, because the beds are going to be right there. So the whole thing will match at that point. And after that, I'm going to come shoot these. We'll clean up all this, the sidewalls and all the debris off of them and get them ready, and then I'll come through with low pressure and I'll shoot these as well before we get anything planted in them this year. And here's little Miss little Priscilla. Oh, I know. You are the sweetest thing. Look at you, just performing. Look how sweet you are. You crazy little girl. I know. And there's our buddy Wheezy. Then once we build this bed in roughly the shape it is and roughly the size it is right now, we'll go ahead and shoot it as well. And that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, and the one beyond it. We'll shoot all of the ends of the beds in the same exact color, and it won't be this color. This is more of a, this is a weird kind of green, and this will be a darker brown. And then while we're at it, what the heck, let's just shoot these too. Okay, now we're left with just one of these half fenders because one of the fenders was so badly damaged on the one side we just cut it in half and decided to use just half. It left us with an odd number. Now that we're done building beds, we have just this one left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it in half, and then I'm going to use each of those halves to patch in on one of the other Peterbilt fender beds that's not going to have any timbers in it whatsoever. It's just a fender and then a fender. And then where they face each other, these are going to be on each side to not only make it to where I can drill holes through it and make it as a strong patch, but also we can adjust the size and get as close to a circular or a pleasing enough design as we can before we do that. It's pretty circular. You got a few logs in the bottom, older rotted logs, and some of the old compost from the other beds we tore down on top of that. And then on top of that, much like the other bed that I showed you, we'll do the couple inches of mineralized clay. And then on top of that, we'll do all new compost. Just like that bed got earlier today, and that bed got earlier today. We're gonna tear down these two beds today. The location here is going to still have a bed, but it's going to be one of those half beds I've been building, and it's going to be right against the fence so we can have gourds growing out of it, because the gourds we do grow, you can see the vines left over from previous years, absolutely love this location. So instead of being strung out from a bed that's nearby, they'll have a bed right by it. And we're going to use all the materials for another round bed like the one that we built yesterday. And then these are going to make two half beds, but not half this way, half this way. They're going to have boards right across the backs of each of these, and they're going to be posted on either side of at least one of the gates. It depends on how many we end up building of that style. These beds are getting paint today. Hi, Wheeze. All these tires, all these beds. This beat up old fender is going to get, the nasty section's getting cut off, and that section's getting split in two to make another one of these round beds. But everything you see here is getting painted today, except for that cat. We're going to start here. I'm going to paint all these beds and these tires, and then this building. It's a pump house. And then I'm going to break away and go sandblast for a few hours to finish up a project I've got going in the yards. And then I'm going to come back and start on the other tire wall and all the other beds and gates. All right, the location's ready. I'm going to go ahead and get started painting. Today I'm building at least 2 of these fender beds with just a wall across the back. We've got to get the rest of this compost shoveled off today, and then we'll probably run to town and get more. We'll probably run to town and put on another 6 or 8 ton. We've got the beds put in place. We're going to go ahead and get them filled here this afternoon at some point. I'm going to get my equipment all picked up and moved so I can continue spraying. I didn't spray any more than you saw in this film yesterday because the wind came up. I mean, it came up before I even did this, but I was pretty insistent on getting it done. But it came up enough that I just wasn't going to spray any more than that. And I had plenty of other things to do. So today I'm going to be finishing up some of this spraying as long as the wind holds off enough for me to do so. There's Macker. Hey, Macker. Little 3-legged buddy. Oh, hey, Sydney. Here's the compost we got today. There's Busy. Another, between 6 and 8 ton. Something like that. Yesterday I got these 2 beds shot. Got all the gates shot in this yard. Got all of these beds shot. Got the 2 cold weather beds shot, and then the boys put the tops on them, the doors on them. Got our gourd bed placed over there against the fence. Got it shot. Got all the beds put where they're going to be for years and years, and now they're shot, and the gates behind them, and all the posts in the archway, and the gates, and then all the tires got shot all in the same color. This whole area is all put together and ready to plant, which will happen here in a few weeks. Now I'm getting ready to shoot all of these tires and this tire wall and some of the remaining sprinklers. You can see how much more easy to notice they are before paint.